Welcome to the 5 Week Linguist Show. We've been talking for the past 4 weeks all about sanity savers for language teachers. And I am a firm believer that there can never be enough. Um, I love to find things that will keep us on task and in the language when we need breaks when we need a change of pace. And you might find yourself gravitating towards these types of activities at the end of a marking period, at the end of the year, or just even to have them in your repertoire and use them whenever you need them. So the first one is Netflix, and specifically, I want to talk about a Chrome extension called Netflix for language learners, or I'm sorry, it's called Language Learning with Netflix, and basically this turns something, it turns anything on Netflix into a language lab, but that's not really how I'm proposing using it as a teacher. Um, it has filters that talks about what's available to you in different languages in different countries. So if you go to their website, it'll say, for example, in Australia, in Netflix, here's the catalog. It'll sort of filter them out for you. So that's going to give you an idea of what it'll help you start to be able to look at things that are appropriate for your class. And in my experience, and the experience of people, my language teacher, colleagues all over the world, it definitely takes some vetting because what students are allowed to do, what's acceptable in your school is going to be different depending on culture. So even while every family's different and everybody has different parameters, but that basically a lot of what the students are going to want to watch if you teach sort of, secondary level, um, isn't necessarily, this type of stuff that you can show. And teachers, university, obviously this is really easy. And for private language learning, this really, really easy as well, because, you don't have those parameters, but basically finding something that you can watch over a period of time is just a great way to engage. You got 5 or 10 minutes here. Let's watch this. I really love the publisher is it Carson DeLosa, and they do things that are not necessarily on Netflix, but they do a lot of support materials for films and programs, which is really great. As you see, this is an old school slide projector. And a fun activity that I like to do, and you can do this with absolutely any level and with any theme, is a collaborative slideshow. So Google Slides works beautifully for this. And I'm told that, Word and Office, they're online now. So I'm guessing if that's what you use, that would be possible there as well. But basically, you make a slide, everyone is in charge of making one slide. So some examples of what this might look like at a beginning level is emotions. So everybody finds a slide, or they take a picture of themselves and they put text on it saying what the emotion is. And then you edit it and do a voiceover and you talk about everybody's emotions. So that's just, and then just render it as a movie. I know that there's add-ons in Google Slides that you can use. I use Keynote, and I like Canva as well. So I would just record it in there and then either in Keynote export it as an MP4, a movie, then I've got a movie and we watch the movie. Um, or, do this right in Canva, which I'm doing right now, actually, just recording my presentation in Canva, and then you download it. But that was an example of an A level. This can be really as complicated or as easy as you want for it to be. So you can make it into you can make it more complicated, where it could be like, a collaborative story, right? If you're in that intermediate level, so it could be all about, almost like Mad Libs, like kind of a okay, a crazy day, right? And you give everybody a different role that they have to write about, and maybe even pair people up. So okay, so here are the parts that you have to ask. So maybe it's the you give to one group, you decide the beginning, right? You do the first 3 sentences of this, the first 2 or 3 slides. It was a summer day in Rome, and whatever that is, right? You break up the criteria, maybe 20 slides, or you're going to decide based on the number of how manageable this is, um and how long that you want it to be, because it doesn't need to be long to be effective, but it can be. This might be something that you do really in just one day, or even part of a day. And then another group is in charge of saying 3 things that happened in the morning, and then another group is in charge of 3 things that happened in the afternoon, and then another group is 3 things that happened in the evening, and then one other person does the ending. And of course, they don't know what's going on in all of these things. You can have that be a criteria, or they can collaborate and decide what's going to happen here, what's going to happen there, what's going to happen there, and everybody writes it, and then you edit and narrate it, and then you've got a movie. So it's a fun way to incorporate a lot of past tense, and and to have fun at the same time, review a lot of vocabulary without taking a real long time. If you need something to just kind of jazz up a theme that you're doing, that's fun. Screenplays. I want to talk about screenplays really briefly. I've talked about this in a few of my presentations. And if you weren't aware, I have one of my degrees is in theater arts, and so I've done acting. I've done a lot of writing. It's a real passion of mine, that actually really manifested itself in me becoming a language teacher. But I wanted to share a really kind of fun tidbit that's really relevant for language teachers here, and that's making screenplays. So the very basics of a screenplay is that there's a specific format, and it's Courier font 12 point. It's written in that way, so it equals 1 page equals 1 minute on the screen. And Google Docs has lots of add-ins or add-ons for that. Um, and you don't need to get too technical with it, but that's just a little, food for thought. Your students can make in one class period a little, a 3 page screenplay reviewing one of the themes that you've done, or bringing something to life. It can be a dialogue, and then you can act it out as a reader's theater. And that's a fun way to jazz up what you're doing. Um, it could be, going to a restaurant, or moving into a new house, whatever, going to the airport, whatever it is that you're doing. I really love sort of introducing ways to make videos really quickly. You can of course take your screenplay and make it into a video. Um, but I'm really enjoying short form video lately. And I really like short form anything, because I think when you have to be concise and short, you can really get down to the sort of the essence of things and communicate them in a really clear and easy to understand way. And that's something I really like about short form video. And I've always liked about Twitter is that, you're limited in what you can say. So you have to really think about what it's going to be. So making short form videos of the possibilities are endless. And I think that's an art in itself, and I'm certainly not an expert on that, but one tool to do that that's been really great, um, is Flipgrid. And when I say short form, I'm not necessarily talking about the kind of videos that you would put on Reels or TikToks, or shorts on YouTube. Though it could be, I know we don't really want to get into that sort of stuff for the most part with, schools. That's just not really what we're doing. but I think that there's some great takeaways for languages. And in Flipgrid, and I believe that there's some other platforms that do it, though I was introduced to Flipgrid some years ago, and I think it's really great because you can make a topic and then everybody posts, and there's different sort of screens and filters and stickers that you can put on, and there's a lot of engagement. But short form videos can be simple, a biography, right? An autobiography. It can be a short little research project. It can be recording a short slideshow. It can be everybody has to give a 1 minute review of a grammar point that you learned, and then you've got a whole collection there of videos. um, Really, really a fun and useful tool to get communicating. You can talk about what you did last weekend, or a daily routine, or your plans for the future. The possibilities are endless. And a place to get a lot of these are or tasks as well, that you can do on video, are the actful can do statements. And I know those are available on their website. Um, Basically, you can kind of look through there and assign a different task. And let's say retelling a story from my childhood. Well, then that can be your short form video. If that's something that you're reviewing in your class, you can give everybody a task or two to do, and then you can put those up in a place like Flipgrid or any place else where everybody can submit. And it's pretty engaging because it gives them some choices. So, for example, if I had a range of choices that I could select from, and I can pick and choose, talking about, giving my own autobiography, for example, or telling a story from my childhood, something like that, things that we sort of learned how to do in a specific course, then you can actually just go and do them, and you'd spend that class period preparing and reviewing, and then actually, practicing the task. So really great proficiency oriented way to review and help the teacher save their sanity while they're learning at the same time. uh, I really appreciate you joining me for this series of sanity savers for language teachers. Please leave in the comments if you've got any more sanity savers that you'd like to share with your colleagues here, or any more that you'd like to know more about. Thanks so much. Until next time.